Hi everyone. Today I'm doing a video that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and of all the videos I've made so far, of all the guides I've made so far, this one is probably going to be the most important one, because nothing I have taught you so far is going to matter in the long run unless you understand this one thing. So today I'm going to reveal to you how to succeed in Tekken. Now, first of all, what does it mean to succeed in Tekken? Well, it might mean different things for different people. For you, it might be reaching a certain rank, becoming efficient at all the intricate mechanics and stuff of the game. Or maybe a successful experience in Tekken for you is all about having fun and making friends. Whatever it may be, I promise you that the single most important ingredient to success is the same in any case. And it has to do with your mental fortitude and your attitude towards the game. And it has to do with your positivity. And also it has to do with your willingness to learn, even if it means putting your ego aside. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. When I first started transitioning from what I would call a casual Tekken player to a more competitive, you might say, or a more invested player, I was a toxic little shit. Not gonna lie. And even though I'm nowhere near as toxic today as I used to be, I'm still not perfect, you know. Even I don't hold myself to a standard of such impossibility. What I'm trying to say here is that improvement is an eternal process. And we all have the capacity to be toxic. We all get frustrated while playing the game. I think that to fail to acknowledge this is to lie to oneself at some level. Now, we may not all let our toxicity manifest. That's a different thing, but we're still affected by it, whether we want to admit it or not. I say toxicity, but you may think of it as just general salt as well, right? And some more than others, of course. But it is this toxicity, frustration, lack of positive attitude, and even anger and hate that is the #1 killer in this game. And if you experience these at a high degree, then your longevity as a Tekken player is undoubtedly at stake. People who cannot learn to turn their salt into enthusiasm, they do not last in this game. Their progress will stall, or they end up quitting the game altogether. And if you do reach a point where you feel like you have to quit the game for the sake of your mental health, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Tekken is not a game for everyone. It takes a certain kind of person to succeed in a game like Tekken. But I think that if you are that kind of person, or if you at the very least aim to one day become that person, then Tekken is probably the best game for you. And you will find it extremely rewarding and enriching in the long run, if you stick with it. There are situations, of course, where your salt and frustration and all that are absolutely legitimate. It's completely understandable to be frustrated fighting a character that is objectively broken or overpowered. No one enjoys feeling like they're bringing a toothpick to a bazooka fight. Or maybe your combo drops because of a game error, such as a bugged hitbox or a random side switch or something like that. And you have a fully legitimate cause of being salty. And that's okay, be salty. But you have to also then, as fast as possible, try to be zen about it. Forget about it. Move on. and don't hold a grudge towards it, and don't let it affect you going forward. If your brain is occupied being salty about what just happened a moment ago, it means that you're not present in the moment, ready for what happens next. So you may, for example, find yourself missing an important whiff punish because you're in your own head about getting screwed by a sidewall splat moments earlier, something like that. And now you're getting angry at yourself for missing the whiff punish. And this becomes sort of a snowball effect that won't stop until you seize control of your emotions. So I'm painting a picture here, but so what can you do to encourage in yourself a positive attitude and strengthen your mental resilience? There's a bunch of things. I'll list some of them for you today. I think that first of all, it's important to recognize that Tekken is not a sprint. It is a marathon. Tekken is, at a very high degree, the practice of delayed gratification, which is to say that it's all about slow, incremental improvement over time. And this also just further demonstrates how pointless it is to be frustrated or angry over a single match. I think we've all had that experience at least once, right? Where we ran into someone who just absolutely kicked the snot out of us, to the point where we just left feeling a sort of glooming hopelessness that can really mess with your self-esteem as a player, you know. If you know, you know. But what we often fail to recognize in those moments is that you're not defined by one match. You're not defined by one set, and you're certainly not defined by one session. Just as there won't be a day where you go to bed playing like a red rank and then you suddenly magically wake up playing as a guard rank. You know, the ugly duckling, it didn't just wake up one day as a swan. That was a transformation that happened slowly over time. So I'm sidetracking a little bit here. So again, how do you get a healthier mindset towards the game? Well, one thing I'll tell you that helped me a lot, and I don't think that this is necessarily something you need to do, but it definitely helps, I think. So the first big step I took towards developing a more healthier relationship with the game was to go to offline tournaments. Now, this is something that I started doing a bit in 2017 and 18, and then I haven't gone as much since because of COVID lockdowns. They kind of put a stop to all that, but that's beside the point here. When we sit at home and play by ourselves, it's very easy to disassociate the opponent we see on the screen with the person who is piloting that character. We often tend to forget that on the other side of that screen is another person just like you, who enjoys the game, the same game as you, right? For similar reasons as you. Someone with whom you undoubtedly have a lot in common with. But as long as you're not sitting next to that person or is voice chatting or something like that, then what you perceive on the screen only becomes an adversary. An obstacle, in other words, that is in your way. And I think going to offline tournaments, joining groups, discords, voice chats and all that, it will help you put faces and voices on some of the people that you play with. And it's way harder to be toxic towards an actual person than it is being it towards an inanimate object, as you perceive it on a screen in front of you. Now, this next one is also super, super important. And it is, be excited when you find someone who seems far superior to you. And try to make it an opportunity to learn. This goes back a little bit to what I said before about getting the snot kicked out of you, right? Now, I don't usually look to Dragon Ball for philosophical insight. But There is this scene in the older Dragon Ball series when Goku fights Vegeta for the first time in the Saiyan saga. And they're pretty much at a stalemate, and Vegeta is trying to use his very last bit of energy to board his space capsule and escape. But as he does so, Krillin approaches him with a samurai sword. And he's just about to end him when Goku suddenly stops him and pleads to spare Vegeta's life.
Die!
Krillin, don't do it!
Goku?
Please, just let the Saiyan go!
You've got to be kidding me. 4 of our friends are dead because of him, and you want to let him get in his spaceship and fly away like nothing ever happened?
After I finished training with King Kai in Otherworld, I thought I'd gotten as strong as I could possibly get. Then I saw Vegeta fight, and he's so much faster, so much more powerful than me. Things he was capable of, it was overwhelming. But I've got to admit, deep down I was pretty excited. Maybe it's because I'm a Saiyan too, but when I see somebody who's that strong, my heart starts racing, because I realize I still have farther to go. It makes me want to train myself even harder, to push myself to their level. Krillin, I know it's wrong, but please, let him go, for me. I need to be able to fight him again someday.
And Goku asked Krillin to spare Vegeta, not because he liked Vegeta, or because he thought that deep down he was a good guy or anything like that, right? No, he did so because Goku recognized that Vegeta was an important ingredient in Goku's own improvement. Of course, he recognized that it was important for him to have a strong and competent rival that could help push him to the next level if he wanted to become the best of the best. And we see this philosophy perfectly demonstrated in regions like Pakistan and Japan and Korea, especially during the arcade days. Maybe that's less true today, I don't know. But this is where the local rivalry and community helps breed exceptional players. We've seen many examples of this so far. So I can't stress enough the importance of getting the snot kicked out of you every once in a while and embracing it with excitement and motivation to hit that rematch button as many times as it takes, you know. And by the way, I'm not saying here that you always have to rematch. God knows I don't, right? It's just that getting demolished in and of itself is a bad reason not to rematch, but if someone is cheating or the connection is bad, if they are toxic or you're just not having fun, then of course you don't have to, just move on, no big deal. Another thing is that you are going to run into toxicity. It is simply unavoidable in life, as it is in Tekken. But it's how you handle it that it's important to whether it will affect you or not. When people are BMing me, like key charging or teabagging or whatever, I try to just not take it personally. A lot of the time I might even do it back and have a little fun with it, you know. Me and my friends, we often do it to each other because we think it's there is something funny about surface level toxicity, you know. Especially when you know each other. It goes back to what I said about the rivalry thing as well, right? A little bit of there is such a thing as a little bit of healthy toxicity, I think. But I have a rule for myself, and it is that when people start sending me hate mail, I don't engage with them. I just permanently block them. I don't waste my time with those people. So just block them, report them if you want to, and just move on. That's a very important tip right there as well. Now I'll reiterate a couple things here. I talked a little about this earlier, but I think becoming part of a community is very important. Try getting into a group or a team or a clan, whatever you want to call it, and learn together. Play friendly matches together. It didn't work for me. I've tried this, being in a group and a team or whatever. And I'm sort of a very private and introverted, solitary individual. And I don't always get along with people, and I have tried, yeah, but it didn't work for me. It might not work for you either, but I think that you should be willing to give it a try at the very least. And possibly something good will come of it. Now, this is a very common tip as well, but I'll say it anyway. You probably heard this a million times from other creators, but seek knowledge. Watch tournaments, listen to the commentators, what are they saying? Watch Tekken content. I guess you're already doing a good job of that right now, especially if you made it this far into the video. And hit the lab. Something you heard a lot probably. Watch your replays, study the frame data, punishment guide, throw break, all of that. And then, once again, you need to set aside your ego. Don't be cocky. Be objective and analytical. Play with your brain and not with your emotions. Play with yourself a little bit. It's okay to have emotions. It's completely okay to be frustrated and angry once again. It's completely normal and it is to be expected. But you need to have a short memory in this game. Be angry, but be quick to forget about it and move on. And do not hold a grudge towards your opponent or towards the game. Be graceful both in victory and in defeat. Another thing is to take a break once in a while. I think taking a break is super underrated. Clear your mind, come back with new energy, and also give your muscle memory time to settle in. All the drills you do in the lab and all the stuff you learn in the games and all that, it needs time. That's why rest and sleep are so important. That's when your muscle memory sets in and all the new knowledge you've acquired will start to settle in your short-term memory and your long-term memory and all that stuff. So that's also super important. Rest and take breaks and all that stuff. Maybe, depends on who you are, maybe you need a shorter break, maybe you need a longer break. That's gonna be up to you to figure out. And lastly, just have fun. It is a game at the end of the day. And if it's not fun, if you're not having fun, or rather if you're having less fun than you are spending time being frustrated and all that, angry and all that kind of stuff, maybe that's when you should consider whether this is a game for you or not. Or maybe you should reconsider your approach at the game. Maybe you're not a competitive player. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you're just a casual Tekken player. Maybe you just play with friends and stuff like that. If ranked is too stressful for you or something like that. Again, it's gonna be up to you to figure it out. But these are the best tips that I can give you in any case. And you use this for whatever, take it for whatever it's worth. And I hope that you found my rant today useful in some capacity or enlightening in some capacity. So yeah. And good luck with it. And once again, thank you so much for the support. Yeah. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope I'll see you soon again. And maybe I'll see you on the battlefield. But until then, I hope you have a good one. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.